well?
Yeah, we're obviously going into the game on the back of some good form. You know, and having played a couple of local derbies as well. You know, it's third on the bounce, and obviously our nearest and dearest rivals. Well, I think, you know, we can go in good spirits, in good form, and in good heart. But we also know that you know, that's probably not going to count for as much this week. You know, I'm not reading too much into their results. I think, you know, they've had a lot of injuries, particularly around, or a lot of disruption, particularly around the half-back area. But I think this is a game where, you know, their backs are very much to the wall. They're in front of a very passionate and vociferous home crowd, and I think they're going to bring, you know, a lot of emotion to the game. And I think that we've already played them twice. You know, we got whacked at home, and we had a game at Magic that literally wasn't settled until a long time after the final home went. So you know, we know it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a game.
Do you think that's going to help you with it's almost kind of eased you into it, playing the Huddersfield and then Leeds, then to Castleford, getting used to that kind of derby atmosphere?
I'm not sure. I think we've just been striving to get us performance levels up. I think what we have done over the last couple of weeks is we've defended more consistently over 80 minutes than we have done probably throughout the season. You know, it's been undoubtedly our best two defensive efforts. Certainly in terms of, as I say, consistency over 80 minutes and controlling tackles. You know, at the weekend we played, you know, a very good team that only ran the ball over the try line again as once from a pass that we give them, which I think was a great effort. You know, undoubtedly we could have defended the kicks a bit better. I thought there were a couple of real poor individual efforts in there and a good kick, but I think generally, structurally and from a toughness point of view, I thought his defence held up really well. And as I say, we can go in good spirits, but also, you know, we're mindful we're on a short turnaround as well. You know, we had a big game Monday night, and we are on a 5-day turnaround. So managing our blocks this week and trying to make sure that we get all our bases covered, you know, from a technical and tactical point of view, but at the same time making sure that we get those right emotion, you know, the right levels emotionally, because we know that's an area where, you know, we're going to have to bring everything to the party, because we know that's what, you know, that's certainly what Castle bring.
Do you think you've been trying to kind of guard against the case of after the Lord Mayor's show type thing after the win on Monday?
I'd sooner go along the lines of reinforcing what we're doing and continuing what we're doing, you know, and getting consistency rather than firing warning shots across as players. I think it's a case of, you know, having a look at what's worked for what's worked for us on game day and what's worked for us in preparation, tinkering what we need to for this game, and making sure that, you know, we're in the right frame of mind, rather than, I think, if you constantly tell them all week to be guard against complacency and, you know, not take it lightly, and, you know, we're all too happy with ourselves, then I think eventually, you know, they probably believe what you're saying and it turns out that way. But, you know, I think that's the key to doing what we do in this sport is to, you know, strive for that level of consistency. So we'll be sort of throwing the positive messages out, but at the same time, you know, we have got the utmost respect for the opposition, particularly on you know, our previous encounters this year and the position that they're in at this moment in time. You know, this is a great opportunity for them. You know, we know that we're not that type of team like, you know, like Saints or like Wigan or any of the top sort of 4 teams that can turn up and, you know, be 10, 15, 20% down on the game. If that happens to us, then we're a long way short. You know, we've got to be right up on our game every week.
How would you kind of rank the home game here against Castle and the less performances that you've had on this year, in case you want to go out there and suppose get a bit of revenge over them?
I think that's a long time ago now. I think we've certainly come on and evolved as a team since then, and we've obviously played Castleford since then again ourselves. So no, I'm not too sure revenge is on the menu. Just for us, a continuation of our performance and our form, really. You know, don't let the momentum that we've built up slip away by not having the right focus. We feel that the other night, I'm not sure what they expect Oliver Wilkes to do. Said it was a late tackle. The collision between the players happened 0.17 seconds after Rob Burrows had passed the ball. I think collision were unavoidable unless Oliver either throws himself on the floor or somehow manages to disappear into thin air. I'm not too sure that a collision were avoidable. And then you've got a 6'2" bloke weighing 110 kilos and a 5'4" bloke who's got some flexion in his legs, making him even smaller, weighing 10.5 stone. So there's going to be a collision. I guess the argument is, did Oliver make collision with his head? Well, I think at some point he made it, but exactly where? There's certainly no intention. And as I say, I think the collision is unavoidable. I think at the moment there's a lot of stuff going on in Australia about shoulder barges. As we know, everything sort of gets picked up a couple of weeks later. So that's seems to have become a topic in the game about shoulder barges being outlawed. Well, they're not outlawed. They're not outlawed in this game, and I think the good foot sport people quite often call them bell ringers or bigots, whatever you want. When they come off, they look great. When they don't, fair enough, you get penalised for them if they're timing and they're wrong. But we play a collision sport, and I think Oliver's collided into Rob the other night, simply trying to get up, close his space down, and do a job on a very, very good player that has got the ability to make Oliver look silly if he gives him time and space. So I spoke to a couple of other coaches about it, and I've heard coaches comment through the season, about we'll try and teach his players how to tackle people without touching them, and the fact that games are on Sky. I know some coaches, especially some of the teams who feature in Sky a fair bit, feel that they are at risk of getting players rubbed out even more, and I'm pretty certain that if that game weren't on Sky, there's no way that this tackle would have been up in front of a judiciary panel. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think Rich has been good for us this year. It's been a good deal all round for us and for him. Obviously, things didn't work out as he would have wanted at Cass at the start of the year, but there's been no hard feelings. There's been no hard feelings from Rich, and I think Cass have got on with the business. We're looking, hopefully, if we can, to secure him for next year. I think he's enjoyed it here, and I think that's reflected in his form, and he's been an integral part of what we've done, and we'll be happy if we can get a deal over the line fairly soon to keep him, and I'm sure from Castleford's point of view that'll suit them as well.
You can see that kind of sooner rather than later with Richard.
It's something that I think we'd all like signings done sooner rather than later, but that never ever seems to be the case. There's as I say, they're not done until they're done, and I think the people that need to be talking are all talking at the moment. So hopefully, a resolution won't be too.
Understood. Clause?
No, not really. No, we can get on with it. We've plenty of room to move in the cap. At the moment we'll take it as if Kyle's there, and if he's not, we'll have to look for a replacement. But I'm fairly comfortable at this stage. One that will stay, two if he don't. We will be able to find a suitable replacement. I'm very comfortable with that.
Just to go back to Sunday for me, what's the sort of atmosphere going into a game like this, and does it sort of work for you or against you?
I think it should work for you. I think players should thrive on these occasions. I think we saw that on Monday night. We had a derby game. Thought it was a terrific night for the club. We were on Sky. 9,500 people here. We're playing World and Super League champions, and we're putting in a terrific performance. And I thought it was just a reflection on probably the journey that we've on and we've taken and where we're at with it at the moment. And days like if you ask Oliver Wilkes, when he got his one game ban last night, he said, the only game I didn't want to miss was this. So that's probably a reflection on how the players see it. I think everybody wants to play in the biggest games that you play with the biggest crowds, and obviously for us the Castleford game, our games are exactly that. So I think it's one that the players all look forward to, because it's a great challenge for them, and you're going into the Lions Den or the Tigers Den if you like, but it's a great place to go as well. The crowds are at the top of you. The Cas fans always give a terrific atmosphere, and I would imagine that after our recent form and the positivity around the place will take a fair few people there too.
Do you think you'll be able to sort of use that to your advantage, the fact that they've got so many fans there? Maybe if they get frustrated, they might sort of turn on them a little bit.
I guess it depends how we're going. I guess there might be occasions in the game where we might be able to use it to our advantage, but it's not something that is particularly, a factor in our preparations. We'll concentrate on our performance, and if, whatever happens with the crowd, we'll manage it either way.
Did you pick up any injuries tomorrow?
No, I'll come back through a clean bill of health. Ali's back, and obviously Oliver is the only question mark. So probably, if Oliver's out, it probably throws Matt James a bit further into the equation for us. Ali will come back in. That's a given, but it's just then the makeup of his bench. Do we go with two back rows and a front row, or two front rows and a back row?
And what about Sullivan and
Sullivan's been back on training park this week, but predominantly the team will be back. It'll be from the same 19 with Ali coming in for Wilkes this week. If Wilkes gets off his suspension, then he'll stay in the team as well. So Ali will come back in, and we'll drop one of the guys down off the bench.
Might get someone back for London. If someone can back next to him.
No, we've played London. We've got St Helens.
Saints
on. Yeah, we could get Bluey back for that, I think. Yeah, I'd like to see him play some football before we throw him in. He's not played too much football since around Easter time. Bradford away was his last game, so he's not played a hell of a lot. So I'd like to see him get a run under his belt at some stage, if we possibly could, before we consider him to play first grade.
How do you get on the Ellis fit into the team? It's his first home game, wasn't it, on there?
Yeah, I think he's done really well. Paul has spent the bulk of the time at Hooker, and we've used Woody sparingly, but last 2 weeks they've pretty much played, give or take a few minutes, 35-40 minutes apiece. And I thought Andy's performance on Monday were an improvement on what he put in at Huddersfield as well. I thought defensively, he's shown some improvements that we wanted in him. He's certainly been a lot more proactive and aggressive defensively. His tackle selection, he's getting in the right areas at the right time. And I think, the difficult work thing for him, we played with fairly consistent pivots throughout the year, so it will find him his spot within that. But again, I thought his improvement from last Sunday to this Monday, having a look at a dummy half and putting the plays on, what a good improvement. So, I'm sure that the longer the season goes on, the easier it'll get for him.
I think it's almost a chance to kind of prove that he can be part of the squad for next season. So this is frustrating.
For sure, I think. I don't think Andy's ability's ever really been in doubt for us. We've never said that all along, and I've always been very, very respectful of the way he's handled the situation. We've talked regularly, and he's trained and performed in a very professional manner at a very high level. The problem being for Andy is Paulie's form wasn't that good, and he stayed fit and well for a long time. And we feel Woody just gives us a better fit with the 10 substitutions. Woody gives us a better fit off the bench, and Woody is quite often giving us plenty from the bench. So for Andy, it is a great opportunity for him. As I say, his ability has never been in question. It's just that we've had a guy in front of him that took his chance early on in the year when it were up for grabs, and his form has been, he has been our most consistent and probably best player over the duration of a long period of time. So, that's just one of them things that happens in sport, unfortunately. And he's waited very patiently, been very professional. I thought the stint at Featherstone got him more game ready to play for us, and he put in a very competent performance at Huddersfield, but I thought he put in a good performance over there.